When I was 19, I was incarcerated at the Santa Barbara County Jail for 4 days as a result of a scuffle with local police officers. After overcoming my initial shocked realization that I was behind bars, I learned how imprisoned people passed the time. They told stories about their lives. Years later, with these stories on my mind, I conducted a study of reading practices in a jail and prison in Alberta, Canada. There, imprisoned men and women suggested books that I should read in order to understand what incarceration was like. The overwhelming majority of those books were life writings. Both my jail time in Santa Barbara and my visits to jails and prisons as a researcher in Alberta, and later similar visits to prisons in Vancouver and New York, demonstrated to me that incarcerated people place great stock in life narratives, a conclusion confirmed in the prison literature genre, which is largely comprised of autobiographies and memoirs. So I was surprised to discover that life writing as a genre was largely overlooked in the scholarship about U.S. prisons. There have been numerous monographs about prison writing and the role of the prison in American culture, beginning with H. Bruce Franklin's The Victim as Criminal and Artist, which is largely credited with launching the study of American prison writing as a research field. More recently, there have been numerous book-length studies of U.S. prison writing, including Owley X, Race and Masculinity in Contemporary American Prison Narratives, Dylan Rodriguez's Forced Passages, Imprisoned Radical Intellectuals and the U.S. Prison Regime, Peter Castor's Prisons, Race and Masculinity in 20th Century U.S. Literature and Film, and Joy James's anthologies, which interweave scholarly analyses of the prison and prison culture with the critical work of imprisoned intellectuals. There have also been many excellent collections of prison writing, Franklin, Chevigny, and Blanc and Levasseur, to name a few. But there are no book-length studies of American prison life writing, even though it is the most common form of writing in prisons and, I should add, the genre most likely to be read by the wider public. Prison life writing. I use the term throughout this book, so let me briefly explain what it means and how I intend to use it. Life writing is an umbrella term that denotes, mostly, nonfiction literature that focuses, in some fashion, on real people's life experiences. It includes subgenres like autobiography, biography, memoir, letters, and diaries. This book focuses primarily on autobiography and memoir. Prison life writing broadly refers to life writing written by incarcerated or formerly incarcerated people whose stories focus in some fashion on their experiences in carceral institutions. Perhaps because there has been no sustained consideration of prison life writing as a genre, scholars, educators, and activists consistently misidentify American prison life writing as resistance literature, which presumes that the genre has an ideological cohesion that is not entirely accurate. That presumption is faulty. For example, Karen Kaplan claims that the act of writing itself resists the rationale of the prison and the state power it represents. And Tara T. Green writes that prison life writing, and she is specifically discussing George Jackson's Soledad Brother, challenges the system designed to render prisoners voiceless and powerless. Similarly, Owley Eck claims that prison narratives counteract the established logic of imprisonment, and Sandra Young argues that autobiography provides a model to counterwrite that which is forcibly imprinted through the vocabulary of imprisonment. The autobiographical writings of imprisoned people are sometimes defined as countertexts, or what Joanne Davies in Writers in Prison calls anti-texts, because they can provide the imprisoned or formerly imprisoned person with an alternative forum for truth-telling, alternative, that is, to the courtroom. Paul Greedy employs this paradigm when he writes that while prisoners have little or no control over the manner in which they are captured and fixed in official writing, other written forms, such as the writing of autobiographical accounts, provide a way of regaining control. In this formulation, autobiography becomes what Lee Gilmore calls an alternative hearing. Although these analyses of prison life writing are valid, they are incomplete. Their focus on writing as resistance overlooks how even the most militantly resistant works of prison life writing are saturated with the organizational and disciplinary features of institutional power. In prison life writing, the prison is writing too.